Now you can also choose which folders and files you want to sync. If you click on the Google Drive up here, notice there's a couple links here. You can open your Google Drive folder on your computer. You can visit Google Drive on the web. You can also view items shared with me. It shows which account you're using, how much of your storage space you've used, and you can also get to preferences. Now in your preferences, it shows your account. If you disconnect your account, it leaves all your files in Google Drive on the web and all the files also on your computer, but it breaks the syncing. Now if you want to reconnect your account, that old Google Drive folder on your computer is no longer valid. So you would have to delete it out and then re-download everything if you synced Google Drive again. We should have enough storage here. And here are your sync options. So maybe you don't want to sync everything and you only want to sync some folders. So then you would click this and just choose which ones you want to sync. So I don't need to sync LOL or personal, but maybe I'll sync my mathematics ones. So that means these folders will sync and the ones that are not checked will not sync. Now one note here is that files in Google Drive that are not in a folder will always sync. So what do we mean by that? If you look at Google Drive on the web and we click on My Drive, we'll see all of our folders here, and then any file down here that's not in a folder, it's just considered to be in My Drive. So any file in My Drive will automatically sync, and there's no way to turn that off. So if you don't want these files to sync, you would have to move them into a folder that you are not choosing to sync. Now you'll notice here, none of the folders that are shared with you show up here. So you can only sync files and folders that you have added to your drive. So you would have to visit Shared with Me to sync shared items. Okay, so here's a couple items in Shared with Me, and to get these to sync, we actually have to add them to our drive. So we would check the box next to the file, and we would say Add to my drive. Okay, we'll notice that that is now in My Drive, and when we go to our Google Drive folder on our computer, that file now exists there. So remember, just go to Shared with Me, and you can also add folders to your drive. Okay, a couple other miscellaneous preferences is to start Google Drive automatically when you start your computer. This is a good thing because we want to keep those files safe and synced. You can choose whether to send crash reports and usage statistics to Google. And I like to see file sync status icons as well as the right-click menu. So what that is, when you are looking in your Google Drive folder, depending on which view you're in, you're going to see a little check mark next to files that are synced. So if we're in this view, you see these little green check marks show that these files have been synced. If you're in the list view, notice you won't see the check marks. I don't know why that is. You will see though on the folders, if they are shared folders, there's going to be a little person icon. And if they're not shared, then there won't be. So in this view right here, now you can see the check marks again. And in cover flow view, you don't see the check marks. Now we also enabled the right-click menu. So what that means is you can right-click on any document, and then there'll be a Google Drive option in the menu. And you can either view it on the web or share it. And when you click Share, it brings up a sharing menu very similar to the web menu. And from here, you can get the link to share, or you can change the visibility options, or you can invite collaborators and set their permission levels as well. So you don't have to share from the web anymore. You can actually share right from your Mac. So even for folders that you've already shared, you can change the sharing permissions here. So just right-click, go to Google Drive, and hit Share. And it brings up the share settings. So I've shared this with all my students, and you can see all their email addresses right here. And we could add things or take away things. And when you're done, just hit Done. Now let's go back to our preferences. For proxy, just leave it the way it is. So we want to switch to only sync these folders now. So we'll hit apply. And notice it says some folders will be removed from this computer. So what happens is when you're syncing it, where it's going to take those folders off your computer, they're still going to be in your drive. You just won't have them in your Google Drive folder on your computer. So now it'll rescan and it will sync only the folders that you chose, as well as all of the files in your drive. And when you click on the Google Drive icon, it will kind of show you what it's doing. And again, this syncing could take a while the first time if you have a lot of files there, and depending on your internet connection speed. Alright, now the sync is complete. And if we go back and look, now the only folders that we have are the ones that we had checked. Notice it keeps all the folders that were in my drive. And again, if you don't want all of these to sync, you would have to put them into a folder.